Let it do its thing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Connection Chat with Christy Mann. I'm your host, Christy Mann, and I'm here today with my special guest, the author of The Phantom Struggle, a book I'm enthusiastically reading right now. The author of that book, Mr. Omar Gonzalez. Omar, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me onto your show. It's a pleasure. And I hope we can just have a good time.
I think we will. This is really a fairly non-formal chat, but we do have some great questions, and I'm looking forward to hearing your answers to them. First, let's kick it off. Take a couple minutes and tell us about you and who you are and what you do.
So I'm Omar Gonzalez. I'm an author. I released a book last August, late last August, The Phantom Struggle, and that's mainly my second gig. My main job is I'm a doctor of physical therapy. So I work in a nursing home and in a hospital, and I treat patients for physical therapy as my primary job.
Sweet. And so what prompted the need to write The Phantom Struggle?
Like I said in another show, it was with 2020 being the kind of year that it was one of those things that I was like, you know what, I need to do this now or never, because anything can happen this year. So thankfully, I had all the writings, already written. So I just needed to do the education part, learning the whole self-publishing world, you know. So I did a month worth of research, pretty much the whole month of August. And then toward the end of the month, I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready. And boom, I did it, published it through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and it's out there in the world now.
Yeah, congratulations. Being an author myself, I understand the hard work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Just getting it put together and out. There's a serious sense of accomplishment that comes from
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, let's just celebrate you for a moment because that's huge.
It really
Congratulations.
did feel like that. It really, when I once I pressed that publish button, uh, it felt like a huge weight off my shoulders. Like, oh my God, I finally did it. My book is out there. You know. So then I
And then
entered.
there was that moment of, oh my God, it's actually out there. Did you have
Yeah,
that?
I was like, oh, how are people gonna receive it? What are they gonna think about it? I hope people like it. So it was the second phase. Like the promoting, the marketing, letting people know about it. So that also was another learning experience, and just I'm happy. I'm happy with how it's going so far. And now I'm working on my second book.
Do you have any tidbits to share with us about the second book that you can put out now?
Yeah, so my second book is going to be different because in this one, I'm not talking about my life. In this book, I'm writing about the life of a long life friend of mine, Eden Flores. And so these are going to be her memoirs, her stories, um, and it's going to be a very intense and it was very different for me because of the challenge of I'm writing about somebody else's life, you know like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just comes with a heavier, it's a more challenging task, because I want to do the best that I can, and I want to tell those stories about her life, to the best of my ability.
Right.
And so, and also I have to kind of step into her shoes, you know, yeah, back in the day, during her childhood and early teenage years, I had to kind of like find a way to somehow feel what she was feeling, and really envision, those events. So it was a daunting task, if I'll be honest, but I got it done. We worked together, and I got it done. So now I'm in the process of, getting the book cover going, getting the interior formatting, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a different book.
But still the intensity level will be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good intensity level, maybe even higher than my first book, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something, because the
I,
intensity of that book right there. I'm gonna do a shameless plug right now. Look at here. This is Omar Gonzalez's book, The Phantom Struggle. You guys definitely want to pick this up and give it a read through. I am at chapter 4. And yeah, man, it's
Is
just,
that Sunny on a Cloudy Day?
yeah,
Chapter 4,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I've
Ooh.
actually read through it twice, and I've decided to read through it a third time before moving forward, because
Yeah.
it's the format of it is it's poetry, and reading through it different times in different modes
Yeah.
in my brain, I get a different perspective and a different sensation from it while reading it. So I'm going to read through it one more time before I move on to the next chapter. And that's going to, when I get to the end of this and you get done with the book that you're reading, I don't want to plug it necessarily.
Yeah.
But I really want to schedule a time with you when you finish reading that one and I finish reading this one, that we sit down and do a live conversation about the parallels between them.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely down. I'm loving it so far. It's that first chapter got me, sunk
Yeah.
its hooks into me, and I've been trying to read, steadily. I have a busy schedule, but I try to make time, to at least read a chapter a night, but
Yeah.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far.
Thank you. So far, yeah, you're about to get into where it gets good or
Yeah,
bad. I mean,
that's sort of,
depending on
the
how
last
you.
chapter, I left off that I was like, things are stepping up, things are getting quite intense. So I can't wait
Yeah,
to, read further into it.
yeah. You're either gonna love me or hate me, and I think you're gonna love me. So it works out. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the questions, because we are all about talking about connections we've made, connections we've lost, and we're gonna finish it off with a little bit of advice from you. So question number 1 is, what was the best for you connection you ever made, and how did it make a difference in your life?
So I'll be honest, it was, it was a connection that I wasn't expecting. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't foresee it. I wasn't, I just came out of nowhere, and I'd have to say Anthony Rosa. Even though him and I go way back, we went to high school together, we played football, we wrestled. But life happens, you lose touch, with
Right.
people you went to high school with. Sometimes, it could be years, that you don't talk to this person. So that's what it was with me and Anthony Rosa. And I don't know if he friended me or I friended him on Facebook, but it stayed at that. We just got, we were friends on Facebook, nothing really too much. But then, I guess as I was promoting my book, I was, doing my self-marketing. I was, posting pictures all the time, people with my book. And he hit me up and he was like, hey, it's funny. Okay, so Omar is my pen name, it's my author name. The name that I go by in the real world is Josue, my first name.
Mhm.
So that's how he knows me, by Josue Gonzalez. So he sees me posting up all these pictures of my book and he sees Omar Gonzalez and he's like, who is that? Like, so he hit me up on Messenger and he was like, hey, is that you? Like, is that your book? And I was like, yeah, that's my book. I just recently released it. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, dude, I didn't know who it was because I see Omar Gonzalez. I thought maybe he was your cousin or your, maybe a brother I didn't know about. And I was like, no, man, that's me. That's what I'm using as my pen name. And so then he told me about, the Facebook group he has, Roundtable Remedies.
Table remedies, yeah.
Yeah, and he invited me to the group. And then he told me, he's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing an episode where I have, authors and people who've been in that, the book world, for a while, and I would like you to be on the show. And, I was like, oh man, yeah, of course I'll be on the show, because, that's just going to help me gain more exposure, with me doing the promoting and marketing all by myself. So, of course, I took the opportunity. And, ever since then, ever since that first interview with, Gary Krebs, Tony Dottie, and I hope did I say the names correctly?
Tony Doty, Gary
And,
Krebs.
okay. And then Vanessa Hernandez, I've met, even more people, just through that one interview, including you. Yeah.
That
You and I,
that one
this wouldn't
interview
be happening.
was my first attendance at one of the Roundtable Remedies interviews.
Yeah, because I bet, I
doing
bet the
that
whole
show
author and book thing caught you, right?
yeah. And
So,
then, showed up and, hey, how's it going? And listen to your story. And then, yeah, it was, and now here we are. And that was like, what, 2 weeks ago?
yeah,
How quickly things progress
yeah,
when you make connections with the people that move you forward.
exactly. It was,
Yeah.
and I've even been able to reach out to more people from the high school we went to.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like, man, wow. Like if I'm so happy that I said yes, because I could only imagine if I would have said, oh no, I'm busy, I don't have time, you can, just skip me, this right here wouldn't be happening. All the other folks that I've, reached out to, or they reached out to me from the high school, that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have learned about Vanessa Hernandez and her book. Yeah, so look at all that I would have missed out on, So, if Anthony's watching or if he watches, later, hey, Anthony, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you
he'll
very
be
much.
watching. He will be watching, I'm sure. I interviewed him Tuesday.
Yeah, so
His live will go up tomorrow. I interviewed Anthony Doty, Tony Doty. He's the
okay.
one that connected me with Anthony.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, and then Gary Krebs will actually be on with me tomorrow afternoon.
I can't wait to watch them. To
So
watch all
yeah,
those episodes.
we're going. We're going. Big things are happening, and I couldn't be more excited. But now I want to shift gears because question 2 kind of goes in a different direction. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question 2: what was the connection that got away, and what could it have meant for you?
So I saw that question and I had to really think. And the best answer I can come up with is, so when I was doing, the first round, my book had recently been published, very recent. I would say like around October, I think. I don't know if you know this gentleman. His name is Dale Roberts. He's real big on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel, a bunch of followers. Um, he's like a subject matter expert, I guess, about like the self-publishing world.
Mhm.
And so I saw a lot of his videos when I was doing research. So he was coming out with a book and I purchased it because he put the price very low. So, I took advantage, I purchased it. And then he sent me an email and I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, this guy's sending me an email. And he's like, hey, I appreciate you buying my book. Thank you for supporting me. And hey, I would like to give you a free consultation appointment, for free. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it, because I was like, man, I'm going to ask him, a lot of questions. I'm going to pick his brain, to learn even
Right.
more.
Uh-huh.
And so we got it set up, it was a Zoom meeting, and I don't know why. I don't know what was going on that day. It just escaped my mind that I had a meeting with him.
Oh,
So yeah, and he had emailed me, and it was like, hey, it's too late. Like, it's, I have, family time now. I can't do the meeting.
yeah.
And I just felt so bad, like, not only that I missed out on an opportunity to pick his brain and like learn more about the self-publishing world, but because I just felt that bad because, like, that's not the impression I wanted to give to somebody. The first impression,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I completely missed the appointment, so I'd have to say it was that experience, where I was like, I could have made a connection, but lost it.
What would it have meant to you to actually have made the connection? So what was the major the bottom line loss of missing that opportunity?
So for that one, I guess because I was still fresh, into the self-publishing world. So I guess the wealth of knowledge that he would have, given me, because I had a list of questions. So, and they didn't get answered. So, but after that, I just, picked myself up, dusted myself off, and I just kept trucking, and I just found out stuff on my own. I reached out to other people that are in the self-publishing world, to learn a bit more. And then, things got a little quiet. I started my new jobs. So yeah, I got real busy. So, you know, I didn't really, I guess I just didn't really think much of it after that. I didn't let me keep me down. I
Right.
just remember, like, next time I'm going to be more vigilant about that sort of thing. I'm going to
Yeah.
stay on top of that. That way I don't give off that kind of first impression.
Do you think that the next book that I'm working on is going to be a nonfiction called Reputation for Writers, or Reputation is Everything for Writers? And that's going to be a big part of it. Is if you say you're going to show up, you got to show up.
Yeah, yeah, because
Um,
he was willing to show up. So you got to do your part.
and was there that there was that immediate guilt in not showing up? Did
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I felt bad, because he took time out of his evening, he took a slot out, okay, this time you know, we're gonna meet, we're gonna talk, and he could have been that could have been more time spent with his family, or
Yeah.
whatever else he would have done, but yeah, so yeah, I felt bad.
Did it? Was it a dent? Has it made a difference? Has it made a difference in? I mean, was there anything? The loss of what could have been was profound, but was there an actual link between you not showing up and what happened with your writing career at that point or afterward?
No, not really. Sales, people were still buying my book. It's just, I would have just known more, and I wouldn't have had to do more research, because I would have learned it all from him. So
Yeah.
it was just, I wouldn't say it was like a very traumatic experience. It was just a bump on the road.
It's nice when you when with authors who are able to do that. A lot of times that something like that will happen and people will quit. They'll be
Oh
like, "Oh
yeah.
man, that just ruined me and I'm done." And then they find other avenues, or they find a different route to go. So kudos to you for picking up from that and moving forward.
I
Um,
guess the reason why I like felt so bad, and like I was just like, hard on myself, was because I know that in the beginning, I was hitting up as many people as I could, YouTube, Google, whatever, and nobody was responding back, to my questions. And that kind of sucked. Like I was like, man, I guess I got to go at it on my own, like literally. So I was like, that was a good opportunity, like, somebody that I'm gonna talk to about self-publishing, and learn as much as I can, things that I don't know yet,
Right.
and out the window.
But now you know so much more than you knew before, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So
it wasn't as immediate.
right.
Yeah. That's the hard part is man, especially with the book world, you're wanting it to be immediate. You're wanting to see not so much like huge success. We all know that, you get into the book world, it takes a while for that success to
Yeah,
build, and you get to the point where you want to be, and you're like, okay, now I'm successful. But that in your head, when you go into that, you feel like, man, if I would have made that connection,
yeah.
I would have been where I wanted to be so much faster.
Yeah, like I would have known the things, so much faster. It wouldn't have taken me, more time to research, more time to learn.
Yeah, that's great. So does that bring us to the third question?
Yep.
What is your one piece of advice?
So what I would say is just, be vigilant, of opportunities to make connections. Yes, I know we may live busy lives. We might be doing things, family, work, school, whatever. But if there's something that you're passionate about, right? So like for instance, me, I'm very passionate about writing. Um, Take advantage of an opportunity. I could have very well said no to Anthony. No, I'm busy. No, I wanna go do something else, with that time. But I'm passionate about my writing, so I saw it. I was like, hey, this is a good opportunity, you know. So I said yes. And then I said yes, and then the second thing with the second event with Anthony, I said yes, because I care about, my writing, and it's not so much that I want to be like world renowned. I just I want to spread the messages in my book. I want those messages to go further because I feel like those messages are important messages.
Now we have a little bit of time if you want to stay, and we can discuss that a little bit more, because I mean, do you have the time?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, because I'm willing to go over if you have the time.
I got the
But
time.
I would love to talk with you more about that, because something that I'm picking up. I mean, this is like a memoir for you, but this is something that I've heard you talk about on all of the places that I wanted to get into, is the unknown struggle, trying to keep your struggle unknown, not letting people see how hard it is.
Yeah,
I think that vision, being able to see that, will make a lot more people serve their purpose, achieve their goals, do what they want to do in life. But we keep that hidden. We keep that struggle, we keep it hidden because we don't want people to see that we failed, that we don't want people to see that that there's been a fight, that we've had to go through this hardship and that hardship. We just want them to see the visibly, I'm doing great, and we hide the rest of that. And I think that being let out is significantly important, especially for writers. We're in a very unique career situation. A lot of places you go into a job, most businesses you get in, you're creating products that can scale, and there's a whole different, it's the same, but it's on a whole different level from any other kind of business that you run
right.
or that you can get into. And we don't portray those struggles. All we do is I'm doing great when I'm doing great, and then we kind of sink back into the shadows when we're not.
Yeah. Or we
Is
just, we put up a facade like we are doing great, even though we're not.
even though we're not. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So why is that important to you? Why is that message important to you?
So it's important to me because of what it did for me, when I was finally willing and able to let things go. It felt like I was free. Like it felt like I had, shackles, I was just shackled. And these struggles just, were not letting me be the person that I guess that I was born to be, maybe. Like I was angry. It took me it was hard for me to trust people, you know. It was hard for me to show love to people. So, and it's not like I was doing it on purpose, you know. It's just that, nobody knew what was going on, and I didn't want to tell anybody because, the way I grew up, it was the way that I was raised. It wasn't that, like boys don't cry culture.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't say anything. Just bottle it in and, keep on trucking.
Just keep on trucking.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what would have happened if I would have kept doing that, So thankfully, like I said, thankfully, I got to a point in life where I was able to hash things out with my mother, with my brother, and everything was different from that point on. You can ask my mom. It was like, it was as if she got a completely different son afterwards. I was more loving, I was more affectionate. Me and her would talk, had like conversations. Things were so much different then, and I felt lighter. You know what I mean? Like I felt,
Yeah. You weren't
my heart,
having
my heart didn't feel hard.
for me, it's like there are monsters in there that want to come out, and I have to do everything I can, up to and including holding my breath to keep that from getting out. But
Yeah,
then the moment that because in my head, it's like that thing is going to be so horrible, and it's going to cause so much damage, so much pain, so much ugliness in the world as a whole. Um, and then when I do just like let it go, it's like, all right, now I can move forward. And
yeah,
that's what's interesting to me, and the parallels between the book that you're reading now and your book. That's why where I think it's significant. I didn't mention this to you previously. Um, Death of a Secret is kind of my memoir. All of the feelings, all of the
oh
emotions,
wow,
not necessarily the direct situations,
right,
but the feelings that those pull out of you in as you're reading through that story. That's my life. That's my that was a lot of trauma from several events while I was, my younger years,
yeah,
going through and processing those emotions. I found it after releasing that book, just after writing it and then going through the process of getting it published. It took me 2 years, by the way. So good on you for being able to get it done in a more record time than I was able to do
yeah,
with a book. I mean, I did it with my smaller ones, but that one was my biggie. And it was the emotional processing was exactly what your book does as a memoir, pulling showing the experience of pulling those things out and feeling them through.
yeah,
It's not necessarily the stuff that happened in the book is kind of how I wish it would have gone, in ways that would have made the situation much more satisfactory for me. Um, and it did it in a place where I had freedom and I had flexibility, and there weren't consequences for negative actions. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I was writing the book, there was a lot of that emotional baggage that just got let go because it came to the surface. Because it wasn't the situation that was important. It was how I
Yeah.
felt about it. And I wasn't able to express those emotions in the moment. So they came out in this book, in the story as a whole, my entire life of emotions
Wow.
in that book.
Now,
So I'm really excited to see
now I'm
because
even
you
more. I'm even more intrigued now. You know.
to see where to be able to see and experience where someone came from.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And that's what I'm getting out of your book is I'm able to see, feel, and experience exactly where, not exactly, but a big part of where you came from and what you went through
right.
and the actual situations. I
Yeah.
don't promote
And
my book as a memoir, but that is what it
it's
is.
sort. Well,
Yeah,
you took inspiration, from your life.
for that one, yes, from all of them, but
Yeah.
very much so from that one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
I'm excited to see for us to literally be able to sit down and do the comparative. Look, this is what you went through. Okay, I know exactly what you're feeling because you remember when you read that spot in my book, that's what this was. So we have those
yeah.
parallels to be able to talk about and really bring that unknown out. So I'm really looking forward to that opportunity.
Yeah. Me
I really
too. I
want to
am
do
too.
I really want to do that once we both read through all the way and just sit down and be like, man, because where
Yeah.
did you
And
grow up?
that's so. I grew up in New Jersey on the East
I grew up
Coast.
in Phoenix.
Oh wow. Okay. But
So
it's funny because and it's funny, but it's also interesting. Uh, so the other interview that I had, we had the two guests on, Felicia and Michelle, and
mhm, I watched it.
they grew up in way different circumstances, places, and yet they read my book, and they found connections, like, hey, I know what he's talking about, like, or not even like I know what he's talking about, like, hey, I know this, like, I know what that feels like. I've lived that, I've experienced that event or that circumstance, and to hear those different perspectives, it was like, wow, like, that's amazing, and we're completely different people, and
Exactly. And it kind of brings things, the universe being as vast as it is, it kind of brings things into a more, holy crap, we're actually connected in more ways than we think
yeah, yeah,
by
and that's why I
experience.
I set out to write it like that. I set out to write it in a way where you're gonna feel the feelings or the emotions that are being evoked with certain writings. In that book, in the Phantom Struggle, that I wrote it like that. Because I want you to feel something. I don't want you to just read it and
Yeah,
just.
read it and be like, oh, okay, and then put it away. No, you want that. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I don't know if you've noticed it yet, but like there are going to be moments in the book where you're like, oh,
Yeah,
oh, oh,
yeah.
oh, okay,
I've
okay.
gotten to some of those moments.
I've had and listening to you the other night on Anthony's, I think it was Anthony's Roundtable Remedies. You were talking about it, and you had an experience where, what was it you said? You'd had an experience where you had people that had read the book and came to you and were like, hey man, I feel this, and it was the opportunity to do the spot with Felicia and Michelle and Anthony was one, but there was one particular that stood out for you prior to that, where somebody you were able to like not watch them read the book, but they like immediately after reading it reached out to you.
Oh yes, yes. So Sandra Nunez, she reached out to me, and we spoke for a while, because she's also wanting to get a book out there. She's written some, she has some writings, and she wants to get a book out there. So it started out at first about talking about the process and stuff, and
Right.
step one, step two, step three, and so on and so forth. But then it turned into like a whole just full blown conversation, about life, and
Mhm.
struggles and triumphs, and just um and that just goes back to the making connections. Like I'm so happy that I'm able to make connections with folks that have read my book. They reach out to me and they tell me, hey man, like I know, they'll mention, or one of the writings, chapter or whatever, that I love that one. That one spoke to me. And that makes me feel good. Like, okay, man, it makes me feel like I did my job. Like, yes,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did
Yeah.
what I set out to do. And you know, it's just I feel fortunate. I'm grateful. I'm fortunate that I've just 2 weeks, in just 2 weeks, I've been able to meet so many great people, including yourself.
Thank you. It's been awesome getting to know you in the process as well. And having you just reach out and be, hey, let me offer this to you. That was
Yeah,
that. You get a lot of people that in the book world that are like, man, why would you give your book away? Because you want people to read it. Because it's not about selling books; it's about getting the story out there. And when that's your motivating factor, man, there's power in that. There's
yeah.
power.
It's like what I mentioned before. I just want to get that message out there. It's not about money for me, to be honest. It's just I want to get that message out there that you're not alone. Please seek help. If you're going through something, and or just read that. Just read the book, and just you could see. Okay, so you read you read my bio at the end of the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Military service, honorable military service, doctor of physical therapy, author of a book, so on and so forth. But you read, you know, my life though, how it started,
Yeah,
where it started. And you're like, man, this guy's life could have went a whole lot of
completely
ways,
different. Yeah, yeah.
completely, the opposite, you know, and you're like, you know what? If somebody with an upbringing like that can make it to where he or she is at right now, you know, maybe that'll instill some kind of like confidence, hope in that person, to believe in themselves, or to seek out, better opportunities, to improve wherever they're at in life. So that's why I do it. I'm not gonna charge somebody for a book. I have
Yeah.
a whole bunch of them there. Somebody made a generous purchase of my books. They kept one, they left me with the rest. So I'm not gonna sell them. I'm just gonna give them. I'm just gonna give them away.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you have on 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 the inside here, like after the table of contents, but before you get to the story, you actually put in here some statistics, and I'm looking at the book right now. So here it is again for those of you interested. Beautiful cover, man. Beautiful cover. I
Thank you.
love it. But you actually put some statistics, and then you add some websites where people can turn.
Yeah.
So this isn't just a story about your life. It's literally a tool of empowerment, I think. I mean, people aren't sitting around at their computers when they're in a bad situation going, man, I wish I knew what link to look up right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So having that connection, and then knowing that I'm not I'm not I'm not going through this alone, and it's not only unique to me. That's powerful, and I really appreciate there being people in the world that do that. I wish looking back and having my book, I wish, because of the context and the content in the book, I wish I would have included links to things like domestic violence and shelters and things like that,
Yeah.
because I know the people that will benefit the most from reading that story is people that are probably in a tough situation and don't know where to turn.
Yeah, that's the thing
Um,
too. A lot of times, see, people just don't know where to turn.
and
That's
you give it to them right here, right in the very
yeah.
beginning. And so you know that information from experience that makes it real.
Yeah.
So thanks for including that. Like I said, I wish I would have. I might go back and redo it. It's not in this edition. I might redo a new edition of it and have that included.
No, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do from for all my books, to be honest. This second one, especially this second one, that I'm working on, I'm gonna do the same thing, but it's gonna be different links because, like I said, it's a new person, and it's a whole set of different circumstances, So that's what I'm gonna do for that one. I'm gonna do the same thing. Just the
Add
links are
the
gonna be
links
different.
in the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah, that's huge, man. Brilliant thinking. So yeah, because I my book, I didn't write it for, but and in honesty, I didn't write it from that perspective. Um it was not written as an intent to do domestic violence awareness or
Right.
support the Me Too movement or anything like that. That was not the intent behind the book. It was literally just to tell this story,
Right.
and in the process relieve some stuff for me personally.
Yeah.
It's in hindsight that I've recognized that there is power in that. And it took a long time, like literally until like this last 2 weeks, as I've been reading through this book and seeing that. It's like this information would have been helpful. I might should put it in stuff going forward, but it wasn't where I was at when I was writing it and publishing it originally. So
And now that you've said that, I'm thinking back to your first question, the connection that you've made, and how did it benefit you, so the connection that I made with the person that's going to be the main character, the person you read about in my next book, Eden Flores. If I would have never written my first book, her and I would have never met, like, well, no, we know each other, we've known each other for a long time, like pretty much our whole lives. But it's been like one of those things where, like, do you know somebody that you've known basically like your whole life? But like, there's been instances where, not because you guys get mad at each other or anything. Life happens.
you grow
Like
apart. Yeah.
yeah, you grow apart or you
Yeah.
move to another
Yes.
state, or something. So her and I have have well, growing up, we knew each other, but then we went to separate high schools, so we kind of lost touch. And then we kind of regained touch, in the early 20s, but then lost touch in my late 20s. you know so she reached out to me, after she read my book, and she was like, hey, like, I want to, I want a book written, about my life. I think that, I like the message that you're going, that you're doing, like the, help, and, people struggling, and, I want to do something similar, but, about my life. However, like, I don't think I can write it, like, I want you to write it, and, I'll be honest. At first, I was kind of. I'll admit I was scared. I was like, "Oh man, like, oh, like, I almost said no. Not because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to let her down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, like, because this is your life, that I'm gonna be writing about, and like, I don't want to mess that up. Like, I don't want to write something, but then, that other, voice of confidence came in and was like, no, do it. Say yes, because this is only going to make you better. This is only going to improve your writing craft. Yeah, it's not about you, it's about her. You're going to have to get more creative. You're going to have to, really put a,
Yeah.
so I'm grateful, that I guess we reconnected.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed to have had the opportunity to write about, her life. And I think these writings are going to be some pretty powerful writings, and some writings that I believe should be will help some people. Like I said, it's a different set of circumstances, but I believe some people will read it, and it's gonna resonate with them. So
Do you think, just as a curiosity, but along the same note, along the same lines, do you think that we would look at people differently if we knew their struggle?
uh,
Like Elon Musk, would you look at him differently if you knew he came from a more uh, not so not so easy background? Would it matter? Would it make a difference to you? Do you think
mm,
people do that in general?
I think so. I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for me. I know for me, I wouldn't I treat them the same. I would respect them. But I guess I would appreciate it more. Like, wow, like this person came from humble beginnings, or they came from like some rough beginnings. Nothing was really given to them. They had to get everything on their own. They had a lot of obstacles to overcome. And now look at them. Now look at Elon Musk. Like, whoa. you know
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
hey, don't let your circumstances imprison you. Don't let them keep you still. Break through that, and just keep on climbing.
I asked that question because I'm in a position where I don't talk about the struggles. I don't, I basically paraphrase my life through a fictional lens.
Yeah.
You get the idea of the emotional struggle,
Hmm.
but the circumstances of what my life has been like, you still don't know.
Right.
Um, I don't. I know it. I've experienced. I have lived through it, and I've come through so much just to be where I am. I'm like, man, y'all don't know what a warrior I actually am.
Right.
And so I feel like sometimes I want to just like claw through everybody and be like, ah, this is what I've done. Why don't you? But
Yeah.
at the same
And
time,
to be honest, those are the type of stories I want to hear. I'll be honest. Like, if I'm going to read a book, I don't want to read a book about somebody that had it good their whole life. I'm just being honest. Like, that's just not my cup of tea. I'll read it, and I'll be like, okay, it was a good story. But I'm more about, like, what did this person go through, to get to where they're at? What were their life circumstances? I love reading stuff like that. That to me is what gets my attention. Like, seeing that journey. Um, a book that is, yeah, I had a good life. I'll be honest. I'd probably be bored. That's just me. Um,
you had me at ugly. Do you remember that conversation?
yeah, I
You
do.
had me at ugly and dark.
Yeah, you had me at ugly and dark. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be honest. It might sound weird, but that's my cup of tea, because I like reading about that. Somebody overcoming. You know, somebody that I don't know. I guess they just got it. They didn't have to overcome. They just got it. how I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, that's, we all want that life where there's no conflict, there's no struggle, there's no, I get up and I go out on my beachfront, beachfront property and spend the day playing in the sun, sipping my little umbrella drink, and life just isn't that.
Right, right, right.
And it's the books that show that reality are what I'm more easily able to relate to,
Yeah,
understand, follow, and stick with.
exactly.
Some people enjoy that fantasy of riding dragons into the sunset, and but every book in that context, every book that you read, there's that struggle, there's that conflict. That's what makes it a story.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something that happens that isn't okay, and they have to fix it, and then they fixed it, and now we're at the end and it's all good.
Yeah, the journey is what captivates you. You go along for the ride,
Yeah.
like, how is this character gonna, make it? How are they gonna overcome that villain or that struggle, that obstacle? I don't that,
Do you talk to the books that you read?
huh?
Do you talk to the books that you read?
I
No,
have in the
don't go
past.
in there. That kind
Yeah,
of
I
thing
have.
when you're sitting there reading
Yeah,
through it, you're like, oh no, you don't want to go in there. Why are you doing
uh,
that?
they make a dumb decision. You get mad at them like they're an actual person.
Yes, yes. That's the exciting part for me. That's the fun part about writing, is thinking about my reader. And when we were talking about earlier, having people reach out to you, I had an insane opportunity. I had a friend who was a speed reader,
Oh,
and she and I sat down at her dining room table. I sat down with my laptop. I was working on my next book. Well, she read through Death of a Secret while I sat there. And for
oh,
me, the profound, yeah, exactly. Could you imagine being able to sit there and
yeah.
watch as someone read your book, and when they, the way they respond, there were
Like,
spots
did you
there were,
examine her facial, like, her facial expressions?
from the side view, yes, because I was sitting right here and she was sitting right here. So can you see that?
Yeah.
We were sitting like this to each other. So I got the side view of her as she's flipping through the pages. And there were moments where she goes, huh. And me being there, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let her read. I'm not gonna interject. I'm not gonna intervene. I'm not gonna do anything. But her facial expression when she reached a certain point in the book was exactly what I saw in my head when I pictured the people that I was writing the book for, how I wanted them to respond. Oh, oh, no, no, no. And then flip the page. That happened. And I got to see it in real life, in real time. And there was nothing more satisfying than that. And then at the end, I'm watching her read through different parts, and watching her respond. And I could tell exactly where she was at in the story based on her facial reactions and her gestures. And as she was reading through, like, let's see, you're at chapter 5.
8 now. 8. I made it to 8.
Oh, you made it to 8. Oh,
Yeah, I had some time earlier. I was like, yeah, I got some time. Let me read some more.
oh, it's great. Oh, it's not
No,
so great,
no
but it's
spoilers.
great.
No spoilers.
Oh, but being there and seeing her react and respond to I don't know, it's a big deal for me. I remember the moment that
No, I get it. Mine
I
was
watched my son at 2 years old watch something on TV that genuinely made him belly chuckle. That
yeah.
that
It's like
moment was, oh my gosh, you're like, because I mean they have a point where they laugh at things that they see and they're like, haha, that's funny. But then there's that moment where you see the concept, they understood it. It was Tom and Jerry. He was watching Tom and Jerry, and normally they watch it and they're just like intrigued. It's flashes and lights and pictures and all this
Yeah,
cool stuff. But to catch the moment that they see and understand the plot
yeah,
at, for the first time in their lives, man, there's something about that. And I got to watch that with my son. And then later on in life, I got to watch a friend read my story like in real time. And that was a priceless opportunity for me.
right. I guess
I
mine would have to be the episode with Anthony Rosa and Felicia and Michelle, because up until then it was mostly like text, like messages. Yeah, your book was great. I loved it, or this, I love this chapter. But I can't see facial expressions, or I don't hear a voice, talking about it. So Felicia and Michelle are like, I mean, before that, they were strangers. I didn't know who they were. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah,
It's different when you have like family or friends telling you, yeah, it's a great book. It's like in your mind is like, okay, are they telling me that it's a great book because they're my friend or my family, or are they legitimately saying it was a great book?
yeah.
So they aren't, they're not family. And we had recently met, so for me to hear them, talk about the writings, that resonated with them the most, and see their reactions, the parts that really, hit them,
Stood out to
that
them and
I was
resonated with
like,
them.
oh
Yeah.
man, like mission accomplished, like that's what I want,
Yeah. And that was
I wanted to,
why I mentioned and why I brought it up, because I was watching that interview. I was watching that and I saw your face every time they mentioned that something that was in your book resonated with them and why. And you were like, oh man, that's it right there. That's it right there. And it was very clear on your face how priceless that was to you
yeah,
in that moment. So I wanted to retrace that, because that was a profound moment for me watching those interviews. I mean, I've known Felicia for a while. That was my first interaction, an opportunity to get to know Michelle. But there were bits and pieces in that of Felicia's story that I wasn't aware of.
yeah,
So
yeah,
for her to be able to sit down and have a conversation about that didn't really change. I mean, I love Felicia, and we've done things together, and she's amazing. I mean, she's just absolutely amazing.
yeah.
But that really gave me a different perspective into how she became who she is now.
Yeah, and those short stories that they told, right? When they were explaining why the writing had resonated with them. It's like I said, it's like funny, it's surprising. So, maybe, in another show, we can discuss about, the possible origins and inspirations, the actual events that, inspired those writings in the Phantom Struggle. And their perspectives, like I said, their perspectives, are like so much different than like what actually happened, that inspired those writings. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, or I'm just saying that it's like, it's crazy, like, like how different, we all are, but we've all experienced either similar things or the same things, just in different ways, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to, yeah, we needed to schedule that. We need to schedule that. And I see I'm at the point now where I'm doing so much that I don't want to
Right, right, right. We could do it later. Like
I don't want to
I
overbook myself. And right now we've got the Journey to Success Summit event
yeah.
coming up. Going, right? You're gonna be at the event?
I'll see. I'll be honest, I've been so busy, I haven't even looked into it. But thank you for reminding me, and I'll look into it. And yeah, hopefully I can go.
All right. That's coming up. It's still a little ways off, March 20th, but we'll be talking about it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
a lot of the interviews that we're doing are with the actual speakers, Gary Krebs, Felicia, Tony, and Anthony Rosa actually is going to be speaking at it. So yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
we're getting as many of them together as we can to do these kind of interviews leading up to the event. So my viewers and other people who are authors who are where I started out not knowing how to make the connection or not knowing what to do with it once I made it.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a little while to figure out, man, I'm getting ready to do an interview with Gary Krebs. What am I going to do with that? How do I, I mean,
Yeah, what are we gonna talk about? Yeah.
what are we going to talk about? And how would that be valuable to the people that follow me?
Right.
Because that's what it's about to me. I mean, I've hit most of my lifelong goals. When I was younger, I wanted to write books, and so I've hit most of those things. And when you hit that point, it becomes more about who can I get to experience that with me, because it seems like that's the rarity. That's the rarity in life, is being able to share the experience of, holy crap, I've achieved a life goal. How do I help more people do that? Here's how. And that's what started the whole idea behind these connection interviews, these connection chats, because I had no idea when I first started meeting people. I had no idea how to make the connections, and I felt dirty. Okay, now I know this person. How can they better help me better where I'm at? How do I use that to better myself?
So you kind of feel like you're doing something selfish, but in all honesty, you're not. You're like, you know, you you're trying to do something, and this is the person that can help you do it. And sometimes I think we get in our heads too much. We
Yeah.
start fabricating these things that you have no idea if it's for sure. Like, you don't know that he's gonna say no, or you don't know that he's gonna be offended. You just ask the person, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is it's not like I went and did something profoundly amazing and all of a sudden I'm doing interviews with these people. I wanted to do something that would serve and provide value to people, and I asked people to come on.
Yeah. And I think you're doing a great job. This is what people like me back in the summer needed, like something to watch like this, listen to an author that, took the steps, to get the book published. I would have been, oh my God, this is amazing, had I seen this back then.
Right. So that's where I'm at, and this is where this is coming from, is I know there's a really big deal coming. This event is going to be something that will be sincerely life-changing for people if they know how to show up and take advantage of the opportunities that'll be presented. And so that's what do you advise for, making the connections? Be vigilant in making and accepting them. That's huge. That's huge right there. And that was like the step that I took was, I wanted to be a part of the event, but I'm not at the point where I'm ready to speak at one yet. I'll be on one by the end of the year, I'm sure. I'm confident of that.
Nice.
But this first one, I wanted to make sure that it was an event that would serve. We do events. We have, the connection that you felt like you missed. There was that one-on-one connection, but you still got the gist of what he was doing. But did you watch a webinar or did you watch some other kind of video before you got to that point where you connected with him?
Yeah. Like I said, I was watching his videos on YouTube. And he had a lot of good stuff that he was putting out. You know, it helped me a ton. And you know, maybe I felt like, you know, if I had that, you know, that one-on-one with him, you know, I would have learned even more, you know. But,
Yes.
you know, unfortunately, it never happened.
But you
But, you know, like I
still,
said, you know, I still went out and, well, you know, the questions I still have, I'm going to find answers to them. You know, I didn't just, you know, give up.
right, right. And see, that's where I've bootstrapped my entire writing career. I've never invested much money in, I mean, I've invested money in ads. But I invested that money in ads to understand and learn how they worked
Yeah.
by doing. And then I bowed out of it and was like, okay, well, until I know exactly how much money it's going to take for me to get out and above. And I know I don't have that. So until I do, I don't run ads. Um,
Okay.
but it was, I put in enough to get what I needed out of it to know so I can help other people learn and understand that.
Right.
And for somebody with a book that's like $24.99, spending $100 a day on ad spend where you're going to make $12 per copy sold back, great. My books are $1.29. Not Death of a Secret. Death of a Secret is more than that. But my short stories and my other novels are relatively cheap, and it just didn't make financial sense for me to spend that kind of money to not make back that and then some
Yeah.
fairly quickly. Um, and so I spread out into other avenues, looking for ways to make other streams of passive income, still connecting with people, you know, still writing books, still publishing books, still doing those kind of things, but bringing all of that together and doing these. It's not me that's going to take you to the next level. It's the people that I'm looking to connect you with. But
Right.
you got to
Yeah.
show up. You got to know what you want,
Yeah.
and you got to be able to articulate that to whoever you're connecting with. Because without that communication and being able to say, "Hey, Omar, I want you to write my memoir."
Yeah. You got to also figure out, you know, not you, but like, you know, if, you know, somebody's like that, you know, they're pondering, you know, there's gonna come, there needs to come a day where you make the decision. You know, you stop pondering. You know, you've
And
done
you
enough pondering. Are you gonna do it or are you not gonna do it? You know, and then, you know, you seek out, you know, the information that you need to seek out. You know, you take those steps to make it happen. You know, and I'm going this. You said March 20th, right?
mm-hmm.
All right. I'm
It is
going
March
to look at
20th.
my calendar, mark March 20th, make sure that I can schedule things around it because, you know, I'm taking that opportunity, you know, because I can only get better, you know, from an opportunity like that, you know. It's only gonna make me
Absolutely.
better.
And here's an exclusive. There's the link to the website posted right there where you'll find the event, and there is a 50% off discount code. If you put in my name, Christy Mann, you'll get 50% off
Great.
your registration. So yeah, check that out. Why did the discount code, the actual code, not show up? Oh, hold on, let me put that in there. You can copy and paste that right into it, or just type it in. It's my name, capital C, capital M, no space in between, and that will get you set up with the 50. That will knock the price down for you 50% right off the bat.
Awesome.
So yeah, come check that out. And you and I will probably work out trying to be on the next one. And I definitely do want to sit down and have a chat with you about writing my memoir. I don't think I could do it myself. So I
Hey,
get
I'd be
Eden's
honored.
idea that I don't know that I could do it myself. and do it
I'd be
justice.
honored to be honest. I'd be honored. Like I said, it'll just help me get better. It'll help me, get the creativity even, like just take it to another level. Like what I had to do with this person, Eden Flores.
Right?
I had to use creativity that I didn't use with my first book because it's two different people. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah,
So
you know the experience. You know the experience when it's you. You have to put yourself in a position of being them, and that takes
yes,
imagination and creativity. Yeah,
that was the challenging part, but I got myself up to the challenge. I took it, and I think I became better because of it. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I said yes to her. And when the book comes out, and because so I've written it. The writings is done. Like I said earlier, now I'm in the process, book cover formatting, all that stuff. She hasn't read it yet. She doesn't want to. I was like, hey, Eden, I'm done. Do you want to read it? To make sure everything is, good to go. And she's like, no, I trust you. I'm gonna read it when it's an actual.
wow,
I'm gonna read it when it's an actual book. So
wow.
I'm confident that when she reads it, she's gonna be satisfied. She's gonna be happy, and I'm confident I did the best that I could
I'm
for her.
excited and looking forward to reading it now. I mean, I was before, but now it's like, man, she was like, "Nope, I trust you, man." That's saying something, and now
Yeah,
I'm that much more excited about reading it when it comes out. I'm on the list, right?
yeah, yep,
I'm on the list of first ones to be notified when it does come out.
yep.
And if you
I
need help with the cover design and all the behind the scenes stuff, let me know. I've got a whole team, and
Oh,
I know
okay,
I know several, so we can get you set up with a team to help you get it done up and
okay,
and
yeah.
out, and
We'll
do it
talk.
fairly quickly.
Yeah. We'll talk behind the scenes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. Do you have anything else you want to cover while we're here?
Uh, that I think we've said what we've had to say. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Absolutely.
inviting me onto your show. It's been a pleasure. I'm honored, and I hope that the viewers can get something out of it. I hope that I've said enough to maybe help somebody start their process. Start their journey.
Absolutely. I think we're on the right path there, and then being able to help them figure out how to take that next step when a connection opportunity arises. They
Right.
now see, okay,
Yeah.
this is what happens if I don't.
Yeah,
That's
and I believe you're gonna post up my like social media information.
yeah,
Please, if you're watching, take advantage. Just reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, my email. I will respond back. I will try to help you as much as I can. With what I can, and get you started on your journey. Just please reach out. I'm a nice guy. I'm not gonna scare you off or anything.
he's really, and
Um,
I'll vouch for that. He really is really very easy to connect with. I mean, it was nothing, and kudos to you again for reaching out to me as a follow up from that first interview, because I think that was one of the connections that I missed when I first put out my first book. Is I did a lot of giveaways and I didn't follow up with a lot of people, and
no,
so
yeah.
good on you for doing that, because that was a lesson hard learned for me in the beginning.
No, I just wanna. For me, it's showing appreciation. So you see that picture behind me. Those are
Mhm.
all the first. It was I believe there's 53 people on there. Those were the first 53. You know that had a copy of my book. And I like to show appreciation. To my fans, to my supporters. I don't like to just be like, yeah, thanks for getting a book. See you later. hopefully you buy my next one. No, you know, I want to
Connect with
show
me.
them.
Let me tell you why you need to buy the next one, because we're awesome people. I'm eternally grateful and so thrilled that you did that, and that I was able and in a position to take that opportunity for what it was. Because if I had, I mean, it could have been, oh, here's this guy, he's trying to, he's just trying to get his book. But no, that prompted like an actual conversation
Yeah,
that's been going on fairly regularly for 3 weeks now.
yeah,
So
and that's like that's just who I am. Like, you know, if you say something funny, I'm gonna laugh, you know, and I'm gonna let you know that it was funny, you know, and if it leads to a good conversation that, you know, spans, you know, day after day, why not, you know, like.
absolutely, absolutely. I draw the line at Pookie Bear.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Able to have those conversations. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out, Omar. I'm eternally grateful and appreciative of you for spending the time with us and then going over. Man, we did over an hour on this one, and that's exciting. Um, and so thank you for coming, and thanks to everyone who tuned in now or will be tuning in on the replay. That will be up in the next 48 hours, and we'll be able to share that out, and really, hopefully, it helps bring additional good stuff into all of our lives. And we're making real good live and deep connections going forward. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
All right, good night.